Oh, good morning, good evening, good day, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. My name is Craig Whitney, and I am the founder of Next Level Coaching and the Legacy Forge podcast. Welcome back today for episode 15. That's right, 15, when no one builds a legacy alone. I am with a good friend of mine and a fellow mentor, Wendy Corner, who's quite an adventurous spirit, who's lived a life of traveling around the planet, spending time here, there, and everywhere, learning from experiences and building an empire along the way. So, g'day, Wendy. How you doing today?
Hello, Craig. It's so good to reconnect with you. I'm doing very well, thank you. Yeah.
That's the way. That's the way. Beautiful Saturday morning here in Brisbane, Australia. How's things over in Mexico? Your way?
It's a lovely evening. It's winter, so the sun's going down quite quickly, but the sunrises and sunsets at the moment are stunning. Sun rises over the mountains, sun sets over the ocean.
So being in Mexico, it's not cold like the United States yet, is it?
No, which is why we get the snowbirds coming visiting. So people from the northern states of the States and Canada head south for the winter.
A lot of my American friends, they get really jealous when I do calls with them. Their evening, my early mornings, and my 6 a.m. and I'm out on the waterfront on my morning run and turn my camera on and I've got my singlet on and I'm, they're all jealous because I'm sweaty and they're like, we're freezing. It's like -7, -8. I'm like, well, get outside and go for a run. Like, come on. So the temperature's quite warm down there, yeah?
Yeah, we're sitting just under 30.
Ooh, under 30, beautiful. Alrighty, so today's episode, for all the viewers out there, don't forget, like, subscribe and share. Tag your mates. I'm on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the major mediums, and YouTube for the video stream. So today we're going to dive into the realms of why we don't build our legacies alone. Hint, legacy. And no one should build them alone because our legacy is meant to be built to be shared with, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Now, we do talk about legacy as something individual, your name, your work, your impact. But today's conversation quietly dismantles this myth, yeah? Because none of us get out of here alone. We're born alone, we die alone, but we're helped along the way, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Wendy Corner has just released a book titled I Get By with a lot of help from my friends.
Do you want me to flash it?
Yes, please.
There we go.
Stick it up there for all the guys on the video. It's a beautiful looking book. It's on the way into my Amazon, from my Amazon as we speak.
Lovely.
It's not another self-help book about success.
No, it's
a book
not.
No.
Well, what happened was,
yeah.
I have been running a group for authors, people who want to get the idea out of their heads, the promise to the page. And I joined in my own group last year. And I was talking about, because originally I was only going to write one book, My Life with 20 Kilos, because that is all I have in my case. And the feedback was, Wendy, there's too much information for one book. You need to split it up and write multiple books, have a series. And whilst this particular thought wasn't in there originally, somebody said, Wendy, you've got friends literally across the world. How do you do it? You land somewhere and within minutes you've already made a connection. There needs to be a book about friendship because here I am at 60, roaming around the world on my own with my 20 kilos. How do I do it? There's an exploration of friendship in there, different levels of friendship, how trust is involved and how much you actually do trust people, how much you let people in, what happens when there's a breakdown, and how you navigate the boundaries. So there is some self-help in there. There's definitely some reflective questions and also a bit of theory in there as well.
Well, they say the best way to get to know people and get to know yourself is travel with them. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's the most interesting learning experience one could ever go through because it brings up all your blind spots, doesn't it?
Yes. I can share with you that today, on day 10, I finally got a bottle of gas. There's been no gas in Puerto Vallarta for the last 10 days.
And, wow. So what have you been going caveman style cooking?
But salad. I'm getting a little bit fed up with salads, or I'm very fortunate in that at the end of the road there is a taco stand. So for a couple of nights I've been having tacos. So eating out and having tacos. But yeah, there's only so much salad your stomach can manage.
Oh, exactly. So to the point of this book's about possibility. Yeah, possibility in relationships.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
cool. So before we go any deeper about what the book sort of dives into, I just want to ask you what it cost you to write it. What did this book make you face personally?
This one was looking back over some of the relationships I've had through my life, the ones that worked, the ones that didn't work, how some people drifted away. I use the analogy of when one of the dance partners changes beat. So one of you is now dancing to the salsa and the other one is still wanting to waltz. The salsa person has changed their ideas. Maybe they've taken a self-development class. Maybe they want to move on with something. Maybe they do an about turn and go from being a carnivore to being a vegan. Something has changed. And the waltz person goes, "Ooh, I'm not sure I like that." So how do you negotiate with that? So that was one of the things that the elements I was looking at. And there have been some relationships and friendships where they didn't work in the end, and there was some pain in there. And looking back over it, I mean, one of them, I how did I describe it? I had to work out and realize that I had been holding on to the corpse of a relationship, and it was time to bury it properly. So just one of those things. But yes, it did force me to look at things. And certainly the first book that came out in June, oh boy, were there some Kleenex piles in that one. But we can talk about that one if you want to.
If you want to go there, cool.
Well, the first book was actually From Hoarder to Hand Luggage. And that chronicles the fact that I was born into a family of hoarders and married into a family of hoarders. Both sets of parents had lived through the war and there was rationing. So this is back in the UK. So if you went to get something and you were able to get it, you kept hold of it. You did not let anything go because you weren't sure if it would come back again. I migrated to Australia with 30 boxes, having gone from 3 houses. I lost father-in-law, mother-in-law, brother-in-law and husband in the space of 10 years. So all of their hoarding stuff ended up in my house, and that had to be released before I could migrate. So there's an awful lot of stuff that I was talking about in there, and all those uncomfortable emotions that I had boxed away and didn't want to deal with suddenly had to be dealt with. And that was a serious Kleenex job.
Go away. Phone. Wow. So from hoarder to hand luggage, it seems quite common. So your parents come out of the post-war.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar because my parents, particularly on my dad's side, come from that post-colonial, they call it the Depression era.
Yeah.
So the 1929, basically from 1929 to the end of World War II, that era of generation. And my dad was the same. When Dad passed away, I've never seen so many skip bins in my life get filled up with stuff. I think 13 skip bins went out from his property.
Yeah.
And I could never work it out. And Dad was always protective of resources.
Yes.
I'd also ask Dad, why do you need, half a dozen empty bottles of dishwashing liquid? So that's all right, son. I could use those bottles for a floating water trough. I'm thinking, how many water troughs you got around here, Dad? Or timber that he's held onto for years, left over from building the house before I was born. So what do you keep that for, Dad? I'll never know when you'll need it, Dad. Son. I'm like, you got so
Don't
much
throw
stuff
anything away. It'll come in handy one day. Quote. That was what I heard. Don't throw anything away. It'll come in handy one day.
And I grew up with a lot of hand-me-downs, like when Dad, shorts or clothes or whatever, no longer fit Dad, it passed down to me, and I'd get it. I'd never be able to work it out until I seen the same patterns through his brothers and their families.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until I got older and I started reading about it, I was like, generational values. And then I
Yes.
get to me and I wonder why it's very hard for me sometimes to donate a book or
Yeah.
donate something, let go.
Yeah.
Because that value, I have to shift that in order for
Yes.
me to let go of something. But
Yeah.
my partner, Marina, on the other hand, she's complete opposite of me. She's happy to live out of a suitcase and travel.
Yeah.
Being the beautiful Brazilian she is, they're risk takers. They'll just jump on a plane and go.
Yeah.
She's not attached to anything at all.
Well, yes. I mean, the whole series is called Letting Go, Living Lighter. And because I'm looking at different aspects of it, of the physical stuff, the hoarder to hand luggage took me through my childhood up until the time I left Perth, March the 1st, 2024. Then the Friends book is number 5 in the series. I mean, okay, I've done 1 and 5, but let's face it, if George Lucas can do that sort of thing, well, why can't I? I'll fill in the gaps in between. And there's going to be one about the adventures with 20 kilos because, oh boy, have I had some adventures along the way. There's going to be one looking at the mental scripts. What are the things that we tell ourselves that maybe, were obviously going to be useful at some point because that's when we adopted them and this is a survival mechanism, but not necessarily useful now. And then the other one is going to be around spirituality. What have we absorbed by osmosis? And what do we actually believe for ourselves? So all of them are very definitely reflective books, and I ask journal prompts all the way through them. So that's the way the style of this particular series of books.
Wow. So it's going to be a series, like 5 series, like Star Wars. I mean, George Lucas, when Star Wars first came out, what they do 4 and 5 first, and then went back to the beginning, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and now they're doing sub-series of sub-series of sub-series. Like, it's ridiculous. And George Lucas is no longer with us. Like, I think Disney or someone owns his enterprise.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. So why this specific title? Why I get by with a lot of help from my friends?
Why do I get by with a lot of help from my friends? Yeah. Well, as I said, I'm 60. I'm running around the world on my own. I could not be doing that without lots of help. The fact that as I mentioned earlier on, I 9 days without gas. Now, there was a shortage of gas completely. Having said that, I had neighbours who did have gas. So there was the option of going to use their cooker. I could have, I'm like you, I'm a cold shower person. And so it didn't bother me that I was having cold showers because I was having cold showers anyway. And being in Asia, I'm used to not having hot water in the kitchen. You boil a kettle. No problem. The thing was about the cooking. But the thing that was really annoying was that because they kept promising they would deliver, I couldn't leave the house just in case. So it was only last night that I thought, blow this, I've got to get some food in. And so that today, regardless of whether they delivered or not, I was going to go and cook. And I went upstairs this morning and boiled 4 eggs because my friend's got gas up there. And I was going to go across the road this evening and cook over there. But now I have gas, I can do it myself. My point is, there are friends that I have made, and I get by with a lot of help from my friends. So that was the reason. And plus, of course, it's a nod to the Beatles.
And why at this point of your life? I mean, most people reaching the 60 mark starting to think about slowing down. Like, for my beautiful elder folk out there. I mean, yeah.
Well, one of the reasons is that I'm from a generation. Most of my cohort leaving university are all heading to retirement now. And I say to them, well, what are you retiring to? I know what you've retired from, but what are you retiring to? Because if you're thinking of pipe and slippers, which was the old version of retiring in the UK, when I started work, it was not quite, you left school at 14 and you went until you were 60, then you got your gold watch. You were dead within a couple of years because you had nothing else to do. And that's what the NHS was built on. The National Health Service, that was the aim of it, just to keep you going at the top end. because you won't last for long. So that was okay. The point is that nowadays, if we've looked after ourselves and we're blessed with decent genes, there could be 30 years of retirement ahead of us. Seriously? You're going to sit there and wait for God? No, don't actually sit there and wait and vegetate. Have something to go towards. So for me, I'm finding a new lease on life. I'm getting to travel. I'm seeing places I would never have dreamed of, knowing that by the time I hit 80, the insurance goes sky high and it costs more than your airfare. I'm making the most of the 2 decades in between. I'm going to go and see places, experience the culture. I'm not somebody who tends to go and sit on a beach and lap up the tourist stuff. I am in a local area here, and the local people know me because I kind of made an impact by asking for daft things, but they recognize me. They give me good grace.
Do you speak Spanish?
Poco a poco. And
bit.
there are certain people who've taken it on themselves to teach me more. They expect me to speak Spanish to them, and I'm having to. So Google Translate makes me lazier than I should be, to be fair. If I didn't have that, I would be a lot further on with my Spanish.
Yeah, that does certainly help. I still use Google Translate with me and Marina because the language is a bit of a challenge between us. The English, Portuguese. I am studying Portuguese. She is studying English, and we kind of fill the gaps in between. So it makes language communication barrier is only, was it 7%? 7% or something is the words we take through our filters.
If you're going on, I mean, the original study that was built on was how you express emotions. Yeah. It wasn't per se. It was actually specifically around emotions if you're talking about the Moravian study of 74. But that's another matter. Yeah. But yes, it's that sort of figure.
Marina, we read each other on body language. We've learnt to do that. It's not what you say, it's what you do. That's how the language comes off at the end of the day. Yeah. It's very interesting. So whether you're learning Spanish, Portuguese, or any other language out there, it's important to move with intention. Do something intentionally. Yeah.
Yes. Interestingly enough, Craig, you'll find this funny. Most of the problems that I've had with Lost in Translation has been between English native speakers. I was on a podcast with an Afro-Caribbean American gentleman, and I made him blush. I go, oh, okay, I've said something that was off the mark. Americans, Canadians, Asians, those are the people that I've had the most problem in communicating with, because both of us think that we understand each other. And that's been the Lost in Translation. It's been hilarious. So that's definitely going to be a whole section in the adventures. It's going to be around that.
What I love, because I'm culturally baptized as well with different cultures, is when you get 2 different cultures who hardly speak English within an English-speaking country attempting to communicate to each other speaking English.
Yes.
It's remarkable. It's an experience to witness. They do their best on what they do, and then they seem to get the message across.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. But was there a moment in writing this book that you realized that it wasn't about you and it was those or everyone who carried you?
Oh God, yes. I mean, basically right from the start with the Friends book, the hoarder one, maybe not so much. That was definitely an exploration of me. Once I got past the fact that I had some feedback from one of the editors going, Wendy, you're no longer a speech pathologist. You're not writing your clinical notes. We need to have more of your emotion. And that's when I had to dust off the boxed up emotions. That I realized was where it really kicked in, that this was going to be something useful to other people. And the feedback I've had, I mean, I had one lady in Singapore say, have you got any intention to get this translated into Mandarin? Because hoarding is a serious issue in Singapore. People have died because of it. They've had a flat fire. They've had a fire in their apartment. and they've not actually been able to get out quick enough because of the amount of stuff they've got in the house. So, there've been a lot of people who've given me feedback to say, yes, this is important to pass on to other people.
Mm.
So,
And
both books, to be fair, both books.
So when people read these books, what do you hope they feel before they think?
Because there are journaling prompts all the way through, and I give examples, I give stories of myself and other people around me. My aim is that people will put themselves in those stories and feel for themselves what they would project, how they think they would feel in that given that situation. Once they've done that, then come the journal prompts, and the journal prompts to say, well, let's dig into this a bit more. Now, people can avoid the journal prompts if they don't want to, but the aim is, this is not simply a book that you read cover to cover. This is a book to sit with. This is a book to, explore your own feelings about it.
Sounds like a couple of books that go vertical instead of horizontal. Would that be right?
Yeah. Well, we do both. Yeah. Lots of stories in there as well.
Yeah. A lot of these success books are really a credibility statement, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's supposed to be off. They're really a credit, like a business card, and a lot of them go wide instead of going deep.
Yes.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
Absolutely. These
So
are not designed to be business. Well, they are designed to be business cards, but not in the traditional business book way. I'm working with people to give them the opportunity to bring out the stories they've been holding on to. Those internal scripts, as I call them. What are those stories that we've been telling ourselves? And working through the ramifications of those stories. And again, I give lots of information about that from my own personal experience, that if you've been holding on to a story because you've been squashed as a child, you've been told to shh, quiet, and you've had to fit in to the mold, otherwise you were seriously in danger of being neglected or whatever. There are stories that we hold on to. And by sharing mine, the invitation is there. It's okay to do this. It's taken me rather a long time to get there. As I said, 59, 60. And that was the other reason for doing the Friends book, because it was also a celebration of my 60th birthday. So, it's not something that I would class as a calling card, but it's an illustration of what I can bring people along the journey with.
Exactly, your journey. Because we live in a culture that celebrates the self-made story, yeah?
Yeah.
From your work, what damage does that myth do to people's confidence and voice?
What, we're that it's one person and one person only?
Yeah, that self-made mythology, like because we're marketed to these days by the success of the self-made myth, the guru, yeah?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, we all stand on the shoulders of giants, because there's nothing new under the sun. I mean, I know I'm talking cliches here, but it's true. If you look at, I mean, Craig, you remember when we did the Mad book, Making a Difference, Ways to Magnify Abundance, Vitality and Freedom. Everybody in that book brought forward a different story. And yet, when you analyze the common thread of humanity, there are stories that are common to man. Depending on where in the world you are, the same body has different clothes on. But the point is that it's not one person doing it. I mean, overnight successes have taken years and years and years to get there. What is it? The 10,000 hours mastery. Nobody, I mean, the old adage of no man is an island. Everybody is taking on board stuff that other people have told them. They've assimilated it, They've made decisions about what they've learned, the experiences they've been through. Those decisions colour what they see of the world, how they view the world. And that's individual. However, it's based on lots of things. It's not that one person in isolation.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Now, your work is with people who are thoughtful yet intelligent and often introverted, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yet
Yep.
deeply silenced. What are they telling themselves internally that keeps them small, you think?
Well, they've internalized the shh, don't speak up. I mean, the Australians have the phrase of tall poppy syndrome.
No.
You stick your head above the parapet and somebody will top it off. You actually acknowledge that you've got something to share. And it's back to the waltz and the salsa. If somebody's salsering and going, hey, look, this is really cool. Look at what I've learned, and I can help you do this, that, and the other. And the waltzers be going, excuse me, who do you think you are? That's where you have the mismatch. And so I don't know where I'm going with this thread. What was the original question? I'm sorry, Craig, I've just lost this one.
The original question was, you work with people who are thoughtful,
Yes.
intelligent, and often introverted,
Yes.
yet deeply silenced.
Yes.
What are they telling themselves internally that keeps them small?
Thank you. Yes. Keep
That limiting belief.
Yeah. Don't make a shout. Don't be visible, because the thing is, in that respect, they've been silenced in the past, and if they didn't, they were rejected. So it was a survival mechanism. So this is where the pull me, push you on the visibility front. I mean, we were talking about the business books as being calling cards. There are a lot of people who go, I don't want to put myself out there. I'm introvert. I don't want to be on even a podcast, because what if people reject me? Now, that may not be a conscious thought, but it's certainly what's underneath. Because if there's that potential for being rejected, that potential for being put out of the tribe, as it were, then I'm going to stay safe. I'm going to play small. I'm not going to rock the boat. Does that help?
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Can you describe the physical difference you notice in someone when they realize they don't have to do it alone? So they've overcome this noise. They've broken through this noise.
Yeah.
Well, they've broken out and they've got to break through.
Yes, exactly. Well, there will be people who are literally holding themselves like this because they're so tense. For when I've worked with speakers and they know they've got something that they need to speak about and they're really nervous. I mean, we can actually see the shaking, we can see the tension, we can see the shallow breathing. I can feel there's the heart going 19 to the dozen. But when you go, it's okay, we can handle this together. You can literally see people's shoulders dropping and the breathing calms down. We finally come out of the sympathetic overdrive and begin to shift into the parasympathetic nervous system and go, yeah, it's okay. I've got you. Let's do this together. You're not on your own. I see you. And yes, there is a physiological change in them.
Definitely, definitely. And would you agree that most people don't find their voice? They're more likely to be given permission to use it, yeah? Pretty much.
Sorry, they're more likely to?
They're given permission to use it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Again, it's because they've been told, stay small. And that was internalized as a child. And as a child, you wait for permission. But if that's where you got stuck because that was you in survival mode and you haven't moved beyond that as an adult, and please don't hear judgment in this, because my original internal script, the one that all roads lead back to, didn't come to light until over 50 years after it originally happened. And I can happily share that with you if you would like me to. The issue is that these scripts are holding you back, but you may or may not be aware of them. but it's that permission that you're seeking. And remember that if you're trying to keep small because you don't want to be rejected, because you're after outside validation and you want people to say, it's all right, dear, you can do this.
Yeah. What was your moment where your voice changed? Not because of a technique or a strategy or
Well,
some external how to, um, because you finally felt witnessed.
yeah. Well, I'll go back to the
Yeah.
origin story and share it from there. A very good friend of mine who was coaching me at the time did a little bit of what I call soul archaeology. And she uncovered this early memory. If you will imagine, okay, let's set the scene for you. A hospital in the UK, circa 1968. Parents are not allowed to stay in hospital with their children overnight because they'd get in the way. They'd upset the children. Yeah, right. So this little, almost 3-year-old, double doors are closing on one side, mum on the other side, absolutely distraught because she can hear her baby shouting and screaming and not allowed to go to her. The 2-year-old's going, and because nobody came, the decision she made at that point was, my voice doesn't matter. I don't matter. That memory got buried for over 50 years. But that little mantra, my voice doesn't matter, everybody else's does, coloured the way I saw my childhood, the way I saw my adolescence. And guess what I chose as a profession? Speech pathology. For people whose voice didn't matter, I was going to make sure it did. And I actually specialised in working with adults with intellectual disability and or autism who quite literally were voiceless. So when, again, after I stopped being a speechy and I was working with speakers, promoting other people to get onto stages, I was head speaker coach with TEDx University of Western Australia for 5 years. This coach said to me, Wendy, you realise you're still doing it. You're putting other people out there. When is it your turn? And that's when I realized I had to change that script from not being my voice doesn't matter, everybody else's does, to everybody's voice matters, including mine. And at that point, I started applying for podcasts. I started applying for summits. Last year, I spoke at Cambridge University. I am now, if you like, on the speaking circuit as well. So it has made a very big difference to how I come across because I've now changed that internal script.
Very good, very good. It feels like voice isn't born from isolation. It's born in belonging, in community. Yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Engaging from your experience, you developed your voice by being in greater communities. Yeah?
Yes. Very definitely.
Now, if legacy isn't built alone, the theme of this whole podcast is about people's legacy, their highest purpose or their why. Then friendship isn't optional. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's infrastructure. How has friendship shaped your own capacity to lead, write, and speak?
I describe my friends as the steel struts in my life. That's one of the concepts I use in the book because I've already explained I lost father-in-law, mother-in-law, brother-in-law, and husband in the space of 10 years, which is how come I ended up with everybody's stuff in my house before I migrated from Scotland to Australia. I have very little family left. I've lost both my parents now. I have one brother, sister-in-law, niece. That's my close family.
No kids?
No. So I really am fairly lonely in that respect if you look at family in the traditional sense, which is why my friends are so important, because my friends are my family that I've chosen. And because I now can say I've got contacts, some of which are friends, some of which are besties, in 43 different countries. I can tell you, you cannot do this alone. I certainly can't run around the world on my own without a lot of help from my friends. That is community. And there are some people I connect with every day. Now, some of those relationships, if I attempted to do that, it would be smothering, suffocating. But there's one of the ladies, actually, she co-wrote the foreword for Friends. If we don't touch base in a couple of days, we're both going, "You're right. What's going on? Tell me yours." And she at the moment is in Sri Lanka. So we're juggling different time zones as well. But we keep in touch. So my point is, yeah, it's not a lonely business if you appreciate your friends, if you put yourself in that community mindset and have people around you. It doesn't matter if they're in the same locality. In this day and age, we're only a click away from speaking to somebody, aren't we?
Exactly right. Exactly right. So who were the people holding you while you were writing these books, even if they never touched the manuscripts?
Yeah. Well, as I said, the early one, when I was writing Hoarder to start with, I had this book group that I was working with. So they are named as part of the acknowledgements in the first book. So they were helping me out with that. I've had a couple of friends who've been editors for me, the forward writers as well, and particularly the writers for Friends. I get by with a lot of help from my friends because they were actually two of my friends who wrote the forward. So there've been lots of people who've been holding me up. And I've also got a couple of friends that I ping parts of the manuscript to, going, "Take a look at this, would you? What do you reckon?" Because they know who my target audience is and they can read it from that perspective and go, "Yeah, do you know what? I don't think that's going to land. Try it this way." And the book that I was telling you about, the book group I had to start with, the feedback I got, because I was working in this group with 2 Americans and a Canadian, and they were saying, "Wendy, your language is very British. You're going to have to put a glossary in here." I had a glossary.
What style British? Is that new style British or the old 18th century British?
That's cheeky. I mean, we're talking about the fact that my father had 6 baths in the garden. He had walked past now I would call it a skip. The Americans call it a dumpster. Because when I put it down as a skip, she said, "What do you mean?" So I explained, "Oh, you mean a dumpster?" Okay. Glossary was born. So all the way through, there are different points. And I say at the beginning, look, I grew up in the UK because the majority of this is based in the UK. I'm going to use British words. If there's something that you don't recognize and you can't work it out from the context, because I think you probably can, there's a glossary at the back. So good fun. Lost in translation.
As long as the message gets heard, that's the most important thing.
Exactly.
So what do people lose long term when they try to build impact without relationships? Supportive relationships.
Ooh, it's a very lonely place. And I don't think you can do it effectively. I mean, the more you try and cloister yourself, the lonelier it gets, the more you shrink as a person. And as you shrink, so does your world around you. And that's really not what we're after. We want to be expanding, because if you're not growing, you're dying, basically. And maybe this is what the whole original, you work at the same job until you leave, and then because your whole identity's been tied up in that work, when you retire, your brain can't handle the fact that what's my identity now? And gradually, because you're not getting out with other people, you're not socializing, diddly, you cacked it. So socialization, there's I can't remember the study now, but there was a study that was done that said that loneliness is as important in terms of a life-limiting condition as cancer and coronary heart disease. It's that drastic. We live in a world where we are socially connected on screen, but how deep do those relationships go? If we're all about the Instagram perfect look, I mean, I was literally talking to somebody not 2 hours ago, and we were talking about the fact that if I speak to somebody, particularly somebody I know and trust, this person's mother in particular, if I go and see her and I say, "How are you doing?" "I'm good." My usual response is, "Do you want to try that with a bit more sincerity, please?" I'm calling her out because I know it's just a reflex thing, and I can see she's not in a good place. Now, I won't do that with total strangers because there's not that trust level. But for people that I know and I know are struggling, I don't leave it there. Come on, give me more. Let's go into this, because I don't believe that we can survive, and I mean survive, without friends.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And do you feel that we burn out by not because we do too much, or we are just doing it too much alone?
Well, that's an interesting one, because very often if we're doing the do, and we're doing the do too much, we're doing the do without the BBB, without being with other people. Particularly those of us who are solopreneurs, it's a very lonely existence. We maybe don't have the financial resources behind us to have a team, so it's all down to us. And instead of having a job that we went to, we've bought a job instead, and we're actually doing all the jobs, all the roles within our team. So that would be where I would say, yes, burnout is quite possibly, yes, it's the overdoing, and it's overdoing without support.
Exactly right. Lone wolf syndrome. It's certainly contagious.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
And we were born to be within our tribes, not excluded from them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Legacy
definitely.
doesn't collapse from failure. It collapses from total isolation.
Yes.
I certainly hear you on that. Lone wolf syndrome's been one of my shadows, so to speak, that I've been battling, and I still battle. It's a
Yeah.
constant check-in to myself that I need to go talk to people. I need to be around people.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be around entrepreneurs and go-getters, although it does help. Just get out and get some social
Yes.
sunlight.
I like that, social sunlight. I mean, I know, Craig, that this has been something that you and I have talked about in the past. So absolutely, I thoroughly concur with you. I love the idea of social sunlight.
Mm.
I'm
Just
going to borrow that
socialize,
one.
just be with people.
Yes.
Not anyone and everyone, of course. I mean, just good quality people,
Yeah.
even if it's family, sitting down, having a basic conversation, just getting
Yes.
out of that isolated box, what
Yeah.
we called it, the office or wherever we're our silo, so to speak,
Yeah.
from the work culture,
Yeah.
where we put in our little 6x8 cubicle, and that's what we do all day long, and sometimes all night long. Get away
Mm-hmm.
from that for a bit. I
Yeah.
don't want to go into balance, but it's more blend, work-life blend rather than
Yes.
balance.
Yeah.
Where
I
we
call it
blend,
harmony.
yeah,
Coming in from a musical background, I mean, yes, you've got the bass note as being your
yeah.
work, but you've also got the other bits on top which need to be harmonizing with the
Mm.
chord.
Mm. You're exactly right.
Mm.
Harmony blend, where we blend it all together, and
Love
we
it.
get that social sunlight. Yeah.
Social sunlight. I love that, because I've been putting out to people, right, look, I want to have lots of episodes of my podcast in the can so I can take Christmas to New Year off. And bless them, I've had 4 people come in this week. So yay, I'm going to be able to take that time out.
Exactly right. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. If one of our listeners today or whenever realizes they've been carrying everything alone, such as being a lone wolf, what's the first and smallest step back in the connection, do you think, from your perspective?
I would say, who do you trust?
Mm.
First of all, you got to trust yourself to be able to share your truth. And maybe you're not quite there yet. If you can acknowledge yourself for the stuff that you've been carrying, I would highly recommend that you journal, and then see who in your social sphere you could trust to bring into that. There will be somebody that you ideally can trust. It may be that you've got to really think about that, because if you've carried a really tough story, you may have armored up. You may have put up all those barriers that you can't possibly let people in. And one of the things I talk about in the Friends book is, at what level can you bring people in? How do you actually achieve that trust? And I talk about the fact that, well, the first level is, can you talk about the weather? Of course you can, just the factual stuff. But if you were to offer something a little bit more personal, what does that person do with it? Do they respect it? Do they try and fix you? Do they respect it? Do they hold that space for you and listen? And if you can find somebody who will do that, that is the person that you want to really encourage a relationship with, and make sure it's reciprocal.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Exactly right. Trust. And this is a big one. What's help sound like an actual real language and not theory, concepts, or how-to steps?
Yeah. Help for me is very practical. It's and I've told you that I've lost significant people in my life. When somebody dies, people often send out a blanket, or let me know if I can help you. Yeah, that's not going to happen, because the person is so wound up in the shock of it. Whereas if somebody says, right, look, you're going to be numb right now. Let me organise a meal rota. So get all the friends to organise bring around a meal. Something like that is very practical if you're in a shock situation. Now, if you are in a burnout situation, spending time with them, say, come on, let's go out for a drink. Something practical. Look at the situation that you see your friend in. And if you happen to be the friend, take courage, ask for help, and be specific as to what it is you need. Because that's the other thing. People are going to go, well, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. People can't read minds. And if they try, inevitably they get it wrong.
Most of the time, yes.
Oh,
Now,
be
as we
specific.
start to bring this home, is there a sentence someone could practice saying this week that might change their life?
Ooh. A lot of people have an issue with deservedness, with worthiness, because they've been shut down. They've been too much this and too much that. They've been too loud, too quiet, too this, too that. It can be a bit cliche, but I am enough. As I
That's
am,
right.
I am enough. And
That's right.
If you're somebody who is struggling with their weight, love yourself as you are. Yes, you want to release it. And by the way, please try and release it, not lose it, because anything you lose, you want to find again. From a semantic perspective, I know it sounds as though it's picking at the language, but it's true. If you lose something, you want to find it back again. So release it. If you're somebody who's in that position and you look at yourself in the mirror and go, oh, don't like, love yourself where you are first. And then you can do something about it after that.
That's right. That's right. Because you are that and so much more.
Absolutely.
And final sort of question. Actually, yeah, I don't have to do this alone. A good little semantic little line. I don't have to do this alone. Would you walk with me for a bit?
Yes. Oh, I love that. Definitely.
I don't have to do this alone. Would you walk with me for a bit? Just a couple of lines that people could anchor into their, their subconscious or subconscious mind or the conscious mind. Write it down on, put it on your fridge, and whenever those moments of isolation could come up, just reread that, re-speak that to your mind, and then reach out to somebody.
And I would also suggest, Craig, having that written on your mirror.
Mm.
So that every time you go to the bathroom, and let's face it, we have to do that quite regularly during the day, you then see it very clearly. Have it by your bed. So the first thing you wake up seeing is, I don't have to do this alone. It's all right to ask for help. Because that was one of my problems last year when I lost 6 kilos, because I didn't ask for help. And I did lose it, and I thankfully got it back again.
Wow.
There's another story in that one, but that's for another day.
And when people finish reading your books, what do they hope to understand about themselves that they didn't know before?
Well, that depends on how much they're prepared to do the journaling stuff. The idea is that you're on a journey yourself. I mean, you can see from both of the title, the covers, there's all about the journey thing. Now, I'm going with 20 kilos because that quite literally is all I have. I don't have a home anymore. The journey I'm inviting my readers to go on is to have a journey inward. Go into yourself, ask those questions, journal. What comes up for you? Because you will have your own unique journey to go on. And then when you've read the book and you've come up with a few ideas and you've put them into action, give yourself a pat on the back because you've actually done something with the book. It's not simply, oh, I've read that book, put it down, next one.
Exactly right. Exactly right. That's right. So the journey inwards.
Yeah.
Go
and take
deep.
something with you.
Go deep and don't play small.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah. So Wendy, where can people find you?
Well, physically, that would be a bit of a trek because you don't know where I am at any one time. There's a bit of a thread on Facebook. Where is Wendy now? But right now, the probably the best place you can get me is on the socials. So I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. You can either get me on my personal profile, Wendy Corner, or you can get me on my business page, which is ComCoach, COMM-COACH. I'm on Instagram and wendy.in.your.corner. With a name like mine, you're going to use it, are you not? So just think Wendy's in your corner, but put the dots in. Yeah, I'm also on Threads. Somebody said to me the other day, "You're all over." I went, "Yeah, like a rash."
Very good, very good. And of course, all the links will be in the notes. Produced.
And I've got a YouTube channel as well. Sorry, I forgot to mention that.
What's your YouTube channel?
Wendy Corner.
Wendy Corner. Okay, good stuff. That'll all be in the show notes for the viewers to click on and view. Thank you very much for today's episode. It's been a pleasure diving deep into your realm and your story and the release of those 2 books. It's been a real awakening call. As legacy isn't forged by standing taller alone. Yeah. It's forged by letting others stand with you, standing on the shoulders of giants. Yeah, those that have come before us, those that have come around us and willing to go with us. And on that note, thank you for reminding us that voice is not solo. Yeah, it's not a solo act. It's a shared fire.
Definitely.
Remember what builds a fire. There's multiple elements that create a fire. It's not just the flame itself.
Yeah.
We are one piece of that fire, but together we can stoke the flames. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Craig. I've really enjoyed this.
Like and subscribe to my channel. I'm on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube for the video feed. Yeah. Thank you. And until next episode, we shall speak again. Bye for now, guys.